State Marshal Kane.
How you doing, Kane?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, not too bad. As you're aware, I arrested 2 members of Darkstone a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And subsequently worked with the state to facilitate a resolution to this gun trafficking bullshit that occurred. Now, I'm not in the business of going back weeks in the past and say who did this and who did that. We got to face reality, right? Do we want to use those guns or not? Do we want to maintain a working relationship with Darkstone? So my first question is, do we want to maintain a working relationship with them?
That depends on, number one, their intentions, their actions moving forward. I mean, I think they have been, I believe, a help to us in the past, and they've been a great help to us in many of the operations. But whether or not we know their intentions or why they want to continue helping us is another thing. So I'd say it's contingent on that. It's contingent on,
we can't predict the future, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Yeah, exactly.
So that can't really play too much into our calculus. At the end of the day, right, if they're providing us with things and we want those things, we need the legal grounds to be able to do it. Otherwise, we're going to be weapon trafficking again, right?
I'll tell you what, I think based on the legislation the way it is now, anybody using the guns that is currently in the armory is perfectly within their right to do so. And I think it's pretty clear based on
not
the
from a
state's
legal
decision.
perspective, unfortunately.
I think it's clear based on the state's decision that anything that happened in regards to the shipment and the deals that were made either by myself or by the chief of police would have been well within the law. And I think there's nothing in the legislation right now that says that would make using those weapons illegal.
Is this coming?
If you could point to somewhere, I mean, I would be glad to.
I'll explain. So anytime, so we have a statute of limitation, right? Mm-hmm. The statute of limitation is only incumbent on criminal charges. So as an example, say I was to take something from you and hold that thing for 30 days. Within the state of San Andreas, I can repossess that on the 40th day. If I was not, I can still repossess it. So the crime is within statute. That doesn't mean that the things acquired are, free reign. However, I don't want to get into that pedantic argument because I want to move past that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the procurement, I believe, was legal based on the fact that we deputized these people as marshals, which Opal Price can keenly attest to. That when we did the operation, we deputized these people as marshals, and but we did this separately before the whole command meeting we had. And
let's move past all what happened.
I just think that the people having the weapons and subsequently transporting them in the act of being deputized would have made the procurement of those weapons purely. I mean, I don't see how there's any interpretation that those weapons are not legal and can't be used right now. It's pretty clear based on what the state's decision is as well.
When you say the state's decision, what do you mean?
So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that the state has said that there's nothing that implies that I need to get authority from anybody else to either deputize people or to make deals with the private military contractor in regards to the...
I just want to make sure I understand, like, when you say the state, like, who are you...
I'm talking about the governor when he responded to the docket posting in regards to these matters.
Oh, I don't necessarily agree that's what was said. However, that's the beauty of politics, right? You can disagree on things, but right now, objectively, the reason why I'm calling is not to say who did this, who did that, was this legal, was that not legal. That's not my concern. Primarily because if we start unraveling that way, you know, what happened 2 months ago? What happened? It's not fruitful, in my opinion.
I'm just trying to give some clarity, you know, just so everybody understands my side of the issue here. That's all I'm trying to do.
Right now, the problem at hand is, after that arrest that I made, I recognized that the situation we were in was a bit of a shit show. And as such, I facilitated between all parties what I effectively did is I made contact with the powers that be to help facilitate and get guidance, and that guidance was get legislation written. That guidance was then passed on to Darkstone, was passed on to the legislative authorities, which is where the capital legislation was spawned from. As anything that is not clear in law should be placed into law. So if some magical entity comes around tomorrow, call it like, you know, Blue Balls Incorporated, and they've got some like, you know, magical surveillance devices, and we want to use those, we might want to go ahead and ensure that legally we're covered. Now, there's two routes to this, right? One is we can go down the route of saying, well, you know what? We're assuming that this is legal. The danger of going down that route is you're opening up a door where someone can say no, regardless of whether or not they're going to win the argument. What legislation does is it protects us from those things in advance.
I don't disagree with any of this, and I'll tell you the reasons why we have contested the legislation. And I think if somebody had come to us before this legislation got pushed, we probably could have had this conversation then, but we had no idea this legislation was being pushed. But the San Andreas State Marshals, as far as I can tell, are not enumerated in this legislation as an authority. As far as I can tell, we would either have to go directly to the state.
Correct. You should be named in it. So let's do this.
So hopefully in an arbitration hearing,
we don't even need to do that. Let's do this.
That was our intention with the contesting this, not to
poor
get rid of the legislation. It was just to hopefully because
let's not drag it out.
There was not much time left. Okay,
I understand.
Was going to get put
I
through,
get it. Let's fix it.
I
Get
think there's a
Michael
middle
Rizal.
ground.
Let's call Michael Rizal. Tell him, hey, add us to this, and let's pull the arbitration. You know what I mean?
I'll get some stuff written up, and I'll have a chat with him then after I could get some stuff written up. But like I said, I believe there is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because my goal here is that shit moves forward instead of getting dug in when it doesn't need to be.
I agree 100%. But
would it be sufficient if it said LSPD, BCSO, and SASM?
I believe there may be some other things that I have to talk to McAllister, because he's the one who put this stuff up, and he's the one who brought this to my attention. But at the end of the day, I support what he put up, and I think what this does is greatly narrow the scope and give the mayors and the DOJ authority over the weapons that are going into the armory for the PD. I think right now the scope is much larger, and they have pretty much no say over what can be added into the armory. So I think, if anything, this is a hindrance to the PD. It's puzzling to me why. I understand
they're the government.
Yes, I understand, but I believe they shouldn't. The mayors specifically should not have a say over the types of weapons that
they already
the PD is using. I think based on
so let me explain
had,
something to you. Because look, trust me.
Yes, they are a legislative authority. I understand they can legislate.
Let me just talk for a second, if you don't mind. I'm very aware of a lot of this stuff. I take as a detective, I spend a lot of time reading this stuff. I think your concern, I understand what you're trying to say. What I'm going to tell you is that concern should not exist. And I'm going to explain why. legally, any member of the legislative authority can put anything they want on the table. They could literally put up legislation that says Gunner Kane is not allowed to leave the building. They can do that, right? However, you have the ability to contest it. That doesn't change anything. In addition to that, as of 3-4 months ago, you as someone with a bar license, which I'm assuming you have the ability to put legislation forward. Anyone can do that with a bar license, meaning that if you yourself wanted to put forward legislation for the marshals, you can do so. And if it is not taken in by one of the legislative authorities, be it DOJ, or the two sitting mayors, and they disagree, they have to put it up for vote to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that power is enshrined in them through the Constitution, right? So tomorrow they could literally ban our automatic weapons, but we have the ability to fight back if they did that. So what I'm saying is that that this legislation does not empower or depower. This is power that they always are going to have, right? So
I mean, this is power that I believe they are exercising right now by putting this legislation up. And we are saying, I believe it is, they have a jurisdiction that should not be as narrow as the specific weapons that the PD are using. Yes, I think that they should have some say over the operations of the PD, but it should not be as narrow as the specific weapons.
You mean they should not have the scope of authority over police equipment?
I don't think they should have they should be able to specifically outlaw weapons that the PD are using. No. Obviously, they have that authority right now.
Let me ask you a question. If I bought a rocket launcher and used it in a bank truck, am I doing something legal or illegal?
Well, I think that wouldn't be. I think having additional weaponry to be used in circumstances that make sense, I don't believe that is a reasonable use case for that type of weaponry.
Well, who determines that?
I think a reasonable standard is,
if I took an RPG, you're a marshal, right? And you saw Brian Knight takes an RPG, and I fire that at forehead as he's trying to take money out of the bank truck. Would you arrest me?
I would not say that. I would say that's unreasonable. Well, the way the legislation is, that would be obviously illegal right now. I don't believe. Yes, I don't believe that the scope of the mayor's authority should be on, and this just might be a difference of opinion. I do not believe the scope of the mayor's authority should be on the particulars of the law enforcement day-to-day operation.
So who makes that? Who makes the decision?
I believe the chief of police and the sheriff.
Based on
the legislation. I mean, on.
If Kyle Pred decides to take a RPG and fire at forehead doing a bank truck, is that legal or illegal?
I don't think that would be reasonable. I think, we need to talk about things that are reasonable.
No, well, yeah, but it's a legal matter, right? So if I say, hey...
No, if you act in a reckless manner, you do not get absolved by simply using the weaponry you're using being legal. No. If you shoot somebody with a weapon that is legal in a reckless manner, no, that does not make your actions therefore lawful.
Forget the recklessness. Let's say, okay, forehead is holding an RPG and fired it into a building. Can Kyle Pred take an RPG off the ground and shoot it?
I think officers should be able to match force with the force they are met with. Yes.
So you think it would be legal for him to fire that RPG?
No, not right now. The way the legislation is. No, I'm talking about the way I believe the way things should operate, not the way things are currently.
Right. Which is why we need legislation saying it's legal, right?
Listen, I'm not disagreeing that legislation needs to be made. Like I said, I just think that there's a middle ground that needs to be, found. I do believe right now any weaponry that is put into the PD's armory is clearly legal based on the way the legislation is written. It says any specialized equipment in their armory can be used. So, and I do not believe there's anything in legislation that references the procurement of weapons.
So you're saying the legislation gives anything in the armory is legal. That's what you want to see, or you're saying?
No, I believe that's how it is right now, and I do believe that's how the legislation will be when the TAP legislation gets passed. But it will just give the mayor's offices in the DOJ oversight over which weapons get put into the armory.
Let's say tomorrow. Is your concern that tomorrow, like Junior Huntley says that you can't use these guns anymore?
I'm not worried about the particulars of any individual.
Whatever, like a future mayor says you can't use these particular things in the armory.
I mean, it would be possible with legislation like this for a mayor who has...
But it hasn't happened yet, right? So
yes,
if that were to happen, would you not then contest it then?
I think having this... We should have safeguards built in for these types of things. I think there's no reason
it's
not
called the
to have
Constitution and the legislative audit.
If they're acting, if they're acting within the scope of their authority within the legislation, I don't see how we would be able to stop what they're doing.
No, wait, what do you mean? Okay,
so if they have the legislative authority to remove the weapons from the armory for the PD, and
so let me give you the scenarios, right? So today, both mayors have pushed forward legislation that effectively says, hey, if a third party is looking to issue, weapons to the police department, equipment, whatever it is, that they can authorize these new additions. Such that this third party, which we should be cautious about, right? To be clear here, that it then legalizes our ability to use it. That's what they're giving us. They're giving us something that we didn't have before.
Yes, I think it
takes
the ambiguity away.
If in future the opposite were to occur, which is where they are now restricting the use, we have the ability, just like it has been done here, to audit it. In fact, if they come back and say, hey, we don't agree, then you push it to the state. So the concern of the power, like the mayors, let's say, that's where I'm losing you here, is like, it sounds like the concern is we don't want the mayors to dictate what the PD has or has not. But right now they're giving us something. And if they tried to remove it, we could audit it if that occurred. And if we believe the entire government went damn corrupt, we can push it to the governor, right? Or not the governor, but the state. And that's kind of where that's why I'm reading this as, it seems like there may be a little bit of like ignorance over how the legislation works.
I think what we want and what we've asked for is arbitration, so that number one, the San Andreas State Marshals could be enumerated in there as one of the authorities, and hopefully you can
do that by calling him, and we don't got to wait a couple days. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, hopefully I could have a talk with McAllister, and he could get some stuff written up. I'm not just gonna
100%.
He's been working on.
That's why remember my question was, if they just add comma SASM, is that enough? And then you had mentioned there was all these other concerns.
I do. That's why I would like to have a discussion with McAllister and see where his concerns lie as well. I think, like I said, where my vision is for the way things should be, and the vision for others how things should be, is not. I'm not immovable. Okay, I think there is a way we can meet in the middle on these things. My opinion is not one that cannot. I'm willing to give and take a little bit. I'm not. Just full-fledged on this one thing, if that makes sense.
Okay. Is McAllister going to be around today?
He should be. Yeah, he's usually around every day.
All right. What time? Let's say in 2 hours is going to be around.
Yeah, usually he's around like
5 p.m. Eastern. You, me, Chief. We'll see if we can get the mayors, whatever needs to be, or actually see if we can get a response by 5 p.m. My main concern here, Gunnar, is this has been a month that I want to remind you, I put these guys in cuffs. I brought this issue up originally. It was me, right? I'm now finding myself on the other side of the platform saying I was not expecting this to take a month. And while I don't think it was fully on you, right? They should have written this shit up a while ago, quite frankly. every day we wait, the more likely, shit's getting slowed down when it doesn't need to be. You know what I mean? So if we can find a compromise, the better.
Listen, I agree.
So,
I'm trying to hopefully find a compromise. It was the 11th hour when he threw this up. We didn't have much time, as I'm sure you could tell, to contest that legislation. Once he brought it to my attention, I truthfully did not even know it existed. So hopefully, like I said, we could come to a middle ground here where everybody can agree.
Okay, easy. All right, I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. All right, you have a good one.
One other question.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the lady in the APC the other day when you were in the water?
Yeah, I think Fred said something about this. So, what is So I was given
were
some
you Urban,
DRC
or
members.
was it like a political thing, or
no? Listen. I am number one. It wasn't a political thing. Number two, I'm happily married. Okay.
So am I, and
yeah, I'm
fuck
happily
other men
married.
on the side.
No, I do not do that. Okay, I'm sweet Southern boy, and my mother taught me better than that.
What do you mean?
Listen, all I was doing, and it wasn't even a political thing, because the person who I took out there, as far as I know, can't even vote for anything. So
it's just,
as far as I know, I was
what
just,
I was told. It's communicated to me. I don't have
those are lies.
In so many uncertain terms. You're in an APC, which, as far as I'm aware, can only be taken out during states of emergency.
No, that's wrong. Yeah, that's wrong.
It might be. I don't know. I know it's been pulled out before. This is just what was communicated.
No, we were
to
just
me.
doing some APC training so that we could get some of these people certified.
And that there was an individual that was in plain clothes, female, in the vehicle in there, and over the radio it was playing like Under the Sea. So
it was playing what?
Under the Sea, from Little Mermaid.
No, I mean, I don't remember that part, the Under the Sea part.
Like there's like Ariel, and then there's the other guy.
I remember that. Yeah,
right?
I know the song. I just don't remember hearing it when I was out there. I was just teaching her, the ins and outs of using the APC in case the need arises, where, because sometimes we end up in situations where there's not enough people for the positions we need. So sometimes we want, 4 people in these APCs at all time is the ideal. So hopefully we could get people, some of these DOC people certified for APC.
Okay, so it was all like official business. It wasn't any like hanky panky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
This has all been passed through the warden, and
okay.
Yeah, this is just a little thing where.
All right. I don't personally give a shit. I fuck my husband on duty, so
no, I do everything off duty, and I'm only my wife. Okay,
yep.
Only my wife. I love my wife very much.
And that's why I'm bringing it up, because I don't believe in
that was not my wife. Listen, that was not my wife out there. If that was me and my wife out there, then you might have seen.
Who
something,
was it? Who was in there?
That was. I'm not sure. I'm gonna be honest. It was a female, or was it a male?
It was a female.
Oh, okay. I believe it was Bensler, DOC Bensler.
I got you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got her and her boyfriend.
Those rumors going around. I'm surprised no one brought it up to you. It was only.
I know. Fred brought it up to me before, and I was taken aback by that, because, like I said, I'm happily married. Okay, I might take my wife out.
Listen, everyone gets caught once. You know what I mean?
No, listen, there ain't no catching nothing, because there wasn't nothing going on, and I'm gonna die on that hill. You can kill me on that hill, okay?
All right.
All right.
Okay.
You have a good day now.
All right. I appreciate you. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
5 o'clock. I'm gonna give a call back.
I'll try. Hopefully, McAllister's around. I'll send a little email off to him, see if he can be around.
Yeah, and you should call Roselle too and get that shit cleared, because.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. You take care.
Yeah, I'll do that. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.